CJ Stroud is becoming the most impressive young quarterback the NFL has ever seen. But that statement is something he had to fight for his whole life. From growing up with his father in prison, to being overlooked as a recruit, to that moment in high school that changed everything forever. CJ climbed from absolute uncertainty to sprint toward becoming the NFL's next superstar quarterback. Let's find out the scary truth that caused the rookie sensation to become his doubter's worst nightmare. Just like CJ proved everyone wrong. Prove me wrong by hitting that like button in the next 5 seconds if you think he's the next NFL superstar. CJ Stroud was born on October 3rd, 2001, in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Growing up was tough for CJ and his family. They didn't have much money, and things got even harder when his father went to prison when CJ was just a young boy. Football became more than just a game for CJ. It was his escape and his future. He first started playing in his backyard with his siblings, and even back then, people could see there was something special about him. Nobody knew it yet, but this kid from Rancho Cucamonga would go on to break records that nobody thought possible for a rookie quarterback, and prove that sometimes the scariest thing about greatness is how inevitable it can be. Living in Rancho Cucamonga wasn't easy for CJ and his family. His dad's imprisonment hit them hard, both emotionally and financially. His mom Kimberly had to work multiple jobs just to keep the lights on, sometimes pulling 16-hour shifts while still making time to support CJ's dream of playing football. The family moved around a lot, staying with relatives or in small apartments, wherever they could afford at the time. Despite all these struggles, CJ found joy in football. Every chance he got, he'd be out throwing the ball, studying the game, and dreaming big. He wasn't just playing, he was preparing for his future, even if others couldn't see it yet. His mom made sure he stayed focused on his goals, often telling him, "CJ, you're destined for greatness. Don't let our situation define you." From a young age, CJ showed natural talent that made people take notice. In youth football, he stood out not just because of his strong arm, but because of how well he understood the game. He would spend hours watching NFL games, studying quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, learning their moves and practicing their techniques. His coaches were amazed at how quickly he picked things up. But what really set him apart was his dedication. Even on days when they didn't have enough money for proper training equipment, CJ would practice throwing balls through tire swings and hitting targets he set up in his backyard. Early life wasn't going to give CJ any breaks. While other kids were focused on just playing the game, CJ was dealing with much bigger challenges. The family's money problems meant that they had to move 5 different times during his school years. Sometimes they couldn't even afford basic football gear, but CJ never used that as an excuse. He had practiced with worn-out cleats and spend extra time at school using their equipment since he couldn't afford his own. His mom Kimberly was working all kinds of jobs, at retail stores, cleaning houses, whatever it took to keep the family going. Despite being exhausted from work, she'd still find time to drive CJ to practices even when the car was running on empty. She knew her son had something special, telling him, "You've got to work twice as hard because life isn't going to give you anything for free." These struggles didn't break CJ, they built him. He developed a work ethic that set him apart from everyone else. When other kids were heading home after practice, CJ would stay behind, throwing extra passes, studying playbooks, and working on his footwork. His high school coaches started noticing something different about him. It wasn't just his natural talent, but his determination to succeed despite everything life threw at him. He wasn't just playing football anymore, he was fighting for his future. When CJ got to Rancho Cucamonga High School, he faced another big challenge. He had to wait his turn. For his first 2 years, he was stuck on the bench, watching from the sidelines while others got to play. But instead of complaining or giving up, CJ used this time to learn. He studied every play, every decision, and kept working harder than anyone else at practice. When his junior year finally came, CJ exploded onto the scene. He wasn't just good, he was exceptional. In his first full season as starter, he threw for over 2,000 yards and 23 touchdowns. But his senior year, that's when he really showed everyone what he could do. He lit up the scoreboard with 3,878 passing yards and 47 touchdowns in just one season. The kid who couldn't afford proper training equipment was now making throws that had college scouts scratching their heads in amazement. But here's the crazy part. Despite putting up video game numbers, some people still doubted him. He wasn't getting the 5-star recruit rating that other quarterbacks were getting. Some scouts said he was system quarterback, or that he hadn't faced tough enough competition. CJ didn't say much about these doubts. He just kept working. His breakthrough came at the Elite 11 quarterback competition, where he competed against the top high school quarterbacks in the country. Not only did he belong, he dominated, earning MVP honors and showing everyone that the kid from Rancho Cucamonga was the real deal. When CJ arrived at Ohio State, history seemed to be repeating itself. Just like in high school, he had to wait his turn, this time sitting behind Justin Fields. But CJ didn't waste this time. He was learning, preparing, and getting ready for his moment. His teammates would later tell stories about how he'd be the first one in the film room and the last one to leave practice. Then 2021 came, and it was finally CJ's time to shine. In his very first start, he threw for 294 yards and 4 touchdowns. People thought it was just beginner's luck, but CJ was just getting started. He went on to throw for 4,435 yards and 44 touchdowns that season, breaking school records and making it look easy. He wasn't just managing games, he was dominating them. His second year as starter was even better. CJ threw for 3,688 yards and 41 touchdowns, and he did it while facing some of the toughest defenses in college football. He finished as a Heisman finalist twice. But more importantly, he proved that he wasn't just another quarterback. He was special. What made CJ different wasn't just his stats, it was how he played the game. He could make every throw look easy, stay calm under pressure, and lead his team when things got tough. NFL scouts who had doubted him in high school were now calling him a can't-miss prospect. The kid who once couldn't afford proper training gear was now being compared to some of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play college football. As the 2023 NFL Draft got closer, the doubters came back again. Some NFL analysts said CJ was too mechanical or not ready for the NFL. Others questioned if he could handle pressure at the pro level. The same old story. People finding reasons to doubt the kid who'd done nothing but prove them wrong his whole life. The Houston Texans, a team that had been struggling for years, saw something different in CJ. They didn't just see his amazing stats or his perfect throws. They saw a leader who had fought through every challenge life threw at him. When draft night came, they picked him second overall, making him their new franchise quarterback. But even then, people weren't convinced. The Texans are making a mistake, some said. He's not worth the second pick, others claimed. Training camp started, and CJ got to work like he always had. Veterans on the team were shocked by his dedication. He was showing up before sunrise, staying late after practice, and learning everything he could about the NFL game. His coaches couldn't believe how quickly he was picking things up. But the doubters kept saying, wait until he faces real NFL defenses. Wait until he has to play against the best in the world. Then we'll see what he's really made of. Little did they know, CJ Stroud was about to show everyone that the NFL wasn't ready for what he was about to do. The kid who grew up with nothing was about to change everything for a franchise that had been searching for a star. From his very first NFL game, CJ Stroud started proving why the Texans were right to believe in him. In his debut, even though the team lost, you could see something special was brewing. But what happened next? That's when things got crazy. Week after week, CJ wasn't just playing like a rookie. He was playing like a seasoned pro. Against the Jacksonville Jaguars, he threw for 280 yards and 2 touchdowns, making it look easy. Then came the stunner against the Pittsburgh Steelers, where he threw for 306 yards and didn't make a single mistake. But the real shocker, his game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he broke the NFL rookie record with 470 passing yards and 5 touchdowns. No rookie quarterback had ever done that before. Not Patrick Mahomes, not Justin Herbert, nobody. The Texans, a team that won only 3 games last year, suddenly became a team nobody wanted to face. CJ wasn't just throwing passes, he was changing the whole franchise. His teammates started believing, the fans started believing, and the city of Houston started believing. He broke rookie records for passing yards in a game, completion percentage, and passer rating. The kid who people said wasn't ready for the NFL was making the NFL look like it wasn't ready for him. But what made CJ's success even more impressive was how he did it. He wasn't just using his arm. He was outsmarting defenses, making perfect decisions, and leading like a veteran. The team started realizing that the scary truth about CJ Stroud wasn't just his talent. It was that he was only getting started. You know what's actually scary? Missing an upload. So go ahead and hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and let's get back to the story. The numbers CJ Stroud is putting up aren't just good for a rookie. They're historical. He's already passed for over 3,000 yards in just his first 10 games, making him the fastest rookie to ever reach that mark. Every week, he's breaking another record. Most consecutive passes without an interception by a rookie, highest passer rating in a rookie season, most 350-plus yard games by a first-year player. Even the harshest critics can't deny it anymore. The same analysts who said he wasn't NFL ready are now calling him a future superstar. Former NFL quarterbacks are saying they've never seen a rookie play with such confidence and skill. His own coaches admit they're amazed. They keep giving him more of the playbook, and he keeps mastering it like he's been doing this for years. What's really impressive is how CJ has transformed the whole Texans team. Players who looked average last year are suddenly playing like stars. The offense that used to struggle to score is now putting up 30 points against good teams. Even in tough losses, CJ shows the kind of leadership that proves he's special. He's not just playing the game, he's changing how people think about rookie quarterbacks and what they can achieve. The scariest thing for the rest of the NFL isn't just what CJ Stroud is doing now, it's what he could become. Think about this. He's already playing at this level as a rookie. Most quarterbacks take years to figure out the NFL, but CJ's doing things that even veterans struggle with. He's reading defenses like he's been in the league for a decade, making throws that end up on highlight reels every week. NFL experts are starting to compare him to the greats. They're seeing flashes of Peyton Manning in how he studies the game, touches of Aaron Rodgers in his perfect throws, and the leadership of Tom Brady in how he carries himself. But CJ isn't trying to be any of them. He's creating his own legacy, and he's doing it faster than anyone expected. The Texans aren't just becoming competitive. They're becoming a team that could dominate for years to come. With CJ under center, Houston is no longer a city NFL players want to avoid. The kid who once couldn't afford proper football gear is now the quarterback that every team wishes they had drafted. Just like Cam Newton recently said, the scary truth about CJ Stroud is that his greatness was inevitable. When you come from where he came from, dealing with a father in prison, moving from place to place, watching your mom work endless hours just to keep the family going, you build something that can't be taught. Every time someone said he wasn't good enough, every time a scout overlooked him, every time someone doubted him, CJ just worked harder. That's what makes CJ Stroud different. He's not just a quarterback with a great arm or amazing stats. He's a reminder that sometimes the greatest talents come from the hardest places. From those tough days in Rancho Cucamonga to becoming one of the NFL's brightest stars, CJ has proven that when you combine natural talent with unshakable determination, there's no limit to what you can achieve. The scary truth isn't just that CJ Stroud is great, it's that he's just getting started. Don't forget to go be great this week. Sometimes the greatest stories come from the most unexpected places, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. See you in the next one, my friend.